Hello, my name is Ellen, and I will present you my new vocabulary learning app, Learnbuddy now. What you can expect in this presentation is first I will introduce my persona, then I will show you some early prototyping and get on to the user testing. After that I will show you some problems I ran into and the solutions I had for them, and then I will show you what's next. And finally, what I learned from the whole process. So, here's my persona for the app Learnbuddy. His name is Jonas, and he's 38 years old. He lives in Hamburg in Germany. He's a cultural manager at this small NGO and has contact to international clients. He loves board games, socializing and traveling all over the world. And he loves to explore other cultures and meet new people. Because of that, Jonas wants to improve his English skills, either to better talk to clients, but also to get to know people more easily when he's traveling, because English is such a universal language. He has no time for classes because he's often always on the go. He's either working or he's spending time with friends, and he doesn't really care for classes. But he has a little problem staying motivated. He tried apps in the past, but they usually couldn't keep his interest long enough. So what does Jonas need actually? He needs to be able to learn in small doses, like when he's on the bus or his way to work, when he has some spare minutes in the evening. He really needs a social aspect to keep him motivated, because he longs for human interaction, and just learning by himself is boring for him. And he enjoys games very much, so this would help to keep him entertained and to make it fun. So, when I started to prototype, I first tried to make a map of which pages would there have to be in this vocabulary app. All in all, there has to be start, there has to be a home page where you can get back to all the time, there has to be a flashcard site where you actually learn the vocabulary, and I was actually interested in having study buddies in the app, real people that you can connect to, and like I said, there need to be games, so Jonas stays interested in the app. And I connected all these things to a big map and made sure I have a basic idea of which content is there, so when I drew the pages I knew what navigation points I need to have there and what content needs to be on the page. So when I started drawing the wireframes, I started out with starter pages and really basic stuff, no logo yet or anything, and the wording is also still work in progress. I made the flashcard site and decided to give it something called set of the day, so people can have a daily thing to come back to, like the minimum they should do to interact with the app is learning this daily set. And this would also be something that would make sure that people of different learning levels still have the same set they can talk about in their messages later. And like I said, there is a buddy system. You can either add strangers that have the same learning level as you, but I also wanted to make sure that you could add friends from Facebook or other social media sites, or people you just met who are interested in learning English as well, or another language. And I added a gaming section where you could play games either on your set by yourself, like when you're in bed and want to sleep soon and you still feel like playing a game. You can do this, but you can also play games against or with your buddies. So it's more interaction, and all the games surely should be about learning languages, so they should incorporate the words you learned already, and should make sure that you have the ability to test the words you learned. So I went on to do some user testing with 4 users Some of these were also people I had interviews with beforehand. When I was finished with my research, I did some user interviews to find out what people expect of vocabulary apps, and I did some user testing with my wireframes to see if the ideas I have work, if people seem to enjoy it, and actually if they can navigate the app, if my navigation is good, and if they feel like something is really missing or similar stuff. So I gave them some scenarios so they had an easier path to follow. Like one was, they should sign up as a new user. This way I would know if the sign-in process is okay. They were supposed to learn a set of flashcards and do a test. They should play a game and share the results with their buddies. This way I made sure they were aware of the buddy system and that they could interact with others. And they should find the buddy's user info. This was for them to navigate deeper into the app, and I wanted to see what routes they take to go there. And the last test was to write a message to a buddy and afterwards navigates back to the flashcards. Again, more a test of navigation and to see their reactions to being able to write messages and all that. So what were the problems I ran into? So one of the first problems I ran into was a bigger one. Like at sign up, there were several problems. For example, people couldn't really see the new account button, and it was too small or too far down the page. There was no password validation, what some people found confusing, like not having to enter the password a second time when they signed up. And there was also no separate sign-up page, because I thought it's more easy to just sign up with a new account button. So, and there was no option to skip the whole sign-in process, and some people wanted to actually just have a look at the apps without signing up first. So I redid the login page, made the create account button bigger, and made a skip sign-in page. And I made a separate sign-up page with repeated password entering. And for the skip sign-in button, I made sure that there would be a message that people cannot use the app completely. Like, you can't add buddies if you didn't sign up properly. You can learn words, and you might be able to play some of the games, but most of the app is based on the buddies, and you can only use the buddy system if you sign in already. But this way you can at least check it out and see if it's something for you. Another problem was naming. Like, when people were supposed to find their buddies, they clicked on Find Buddy on the buddy page. And for me, the Find Buddy page button was a way to find new buddies. So the Find Buddies button was misleading, and so I added a Find New Buddies icon instead. And had to change some other things too, but navigation, but I will come to that now. Like, navigation was also, it went well, basically, but there were some, people took long detours to go where they were supposed to be going. Like, for example, the inbox icon for writing a message to somebody was kinda ignored. The buddy navigation was a bit misinterpreted. I think this was based on bad drawing. So I decided to add this more in the onboarding process, or make sure later that on the onboarding process there is a good explanation for the messaging system and the bottom navigation. And the other problem was that on the flashcard side I had info about your buddy. People were confused about that. And the test button for doing a test of the set of the day was confusing to people. They wanted to test before they did the set. So I redid this, made the set of the day bigger, removed the test button, and made the info about your buddy smaller. Like, okay, the buddies did these sets already. Yeah, this encouraged people to do it as well. Third navigation problem was that people couldn't find their whole buddy list, and I wanted them to scroll sideways, but this was not what most people did, so I added another button for Find Your Buddies and a separate buddy page. So, what are the next steps? The next steps would be more user testing to see if my changes work, I would have to enhance the wireframes to make things clearer, and I would have to do more user testing. Then I would have to work out details like what are the games like, what word sets, what I want, what options do I give the people. I would do some more user testing. Then I would progress to reworking the details and adding color and proper icons. And did I mention I need to do more user testing? I think that's really important. So, yeah. What did I learn from all this? Never underestimate research, but watch your time. Like, researching what others did with other apps is really important, as well as talking to people, seeing what expectations they have from such apps and what they're looking for, what they get from apps and what they don't get, what there's a lack of it or something. Always plan extra time when others are involved, like interviews can take quite some time. Don't draw too messy with your wireframes. I mean, wireframes are meant to be done quickly, but make sure people recognize what an icon means. It will just get confusing when user testing if they can't see what you draw there. Use the time you have again, but don't get lost. Feedback in between is everything. So, like I said, don't get lost. Do stuff, but always ask in between. Don't like overdo it and then only to afterwards find out you have to change stuff. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed seeing this app, and I hope you give it a go and want to test it and are with me on the ongoing progress to do more. Thank you for your attention and your time. Goodbye.